lot of people think life insurance is something they will get to later. Later when money is better. Later when life slows down. Later when they feel more ready. But for a lot of families, later comes too late. My name is Fred, and at Fred Livai Financial, what we do is help people look at life insurance as more than just another monthly bill. We help people see it as part of a real financial strategy. Because life insurance is not just about death. It is about protection. It is about peace of mind. It is about making sure the people you love are not left trying to figure everything out during one of the hardest times of their lives. A lot of people know life insurance is important, but they still put it off. And usually it is not because they do not care. It is because they are overwhelmed. They are already trying to stay on top of rent or a mortgage. They are juggling car payments, groceries, gas, debt, and everything else life throws at them. So life insurance becomes one of those things they know they should handle, but it keeps getting pushed down the list. That is the real problem most people have. It is not always that they do not want coverage. It is that they do not fully understand how it works, what kind they need, how much they need, or where to even start. Some people think life insurance is too expensive. Some think they have enough through work. Some think they are too young to worry about it. Some think they need to wait until they make more money. And some people just do not want to think about the subject at all. That is understandable. But avoiding it does not make the need go away. Because if anyone depends on your income, your help, your presence, or your support, then life insurance is not just an option to think about someday. It is part of taking care of your responsibilities now. And this is where I think a lot of people get the wrong message. They think life insurance is just about getting a policy and checking a box. But that is not how I look at it. At Fred Livai Financial, we look at the bigger picture. We look at your family. We look at your income. We look at your current obligations. We look at whether someone would struggle financially if something happened to you. We look at whether your kids, spouse, or loved ones would be left trying to cover bills, funeral costs, debt, rent, mortgage payments, or daily living expenses without your income. Because real financial strategy is not just about building wealth. It is also about protecting what matters. And life insurance plays a big role in that. A lot of people work hard to fix their credit, pay off debt, build savings, and create better options for their family. That is important, but protection matters too. Because what happens if all of that progress gets hit by something unexpected? What happens if your family has to do a fundraiser just to bury you? What happens if your spouse has to grieve and stress about money at the same time? What happens if your kids lose support they were counting on? That is why life insurance matters. It creates a layer of protection that helps your family breathe when life gets hard. It can help cover funeral expenses. It can help replace lost income. It can help keep the mortgage paid. It can help cover everyday bills. It can help prevent your family from going deeper into debt, just trying to survive. That is not small. That is major. And this is why I say life insurance is not just about buying a policy. It is about building a real financial strategy, because the right coverage should make sense for your actual life, not somebody else's life, not a random number someone threw out, not just the cheapest thing you found online because it looked easy. It should match your needs. For some people, that may mean term life insurance. For others, final expense may make more sense. Some people want something simple that covers burial and funeral costs. Others want more protection because they have children, a mortgage, and long-term responsibilities. That is why personalized review matters. You do not need to guess. You do not need to try to figure it all out alone. You do not need to pick something just because a commercial made it sound good. You need someone to help you understand what fits your situation. That is the difference in how Fred Livai Financial approaches this. We're not just trying to push a policy. We're trying to help people make smart decisions. We want people to understand what they are getting. We want people to understand why it matters. We want people to make a decision based on clarity, not pressure, because trust matters. This is a serious topic. And the truth is, a lot of families do not realize how exposed they are until they sit down and really think about it. If you passed away tomorrow, would your family be okay financially? Would they be able to stay in the home? Would the bills still get paid? Would your children still have support? Would your spouse be left scrambling? Would your family have to borrow money just to handle final expenses? Those are not fun questions, but they are real questions. And real financial planning means being willing to face real questions. Now let's talk about what clients can expect when working with Fred Livai Financial around life insurance. First, they can expect a real conversation, not just a sales pitch, a real conversation about what they have, what they do not have, what their family would need, and what kind of protection makes sense. They can expect things to be broken down in plain English. No confusion. No trying to make things sound more complicated than they need to be. They can expect guidance based on their life stage, family situation, and goals. Some people are parents with young kids. Some are homeowners. Some are trying to protect their spouse. Some want to make sure their family is not stuck with final expenses. Some are thinking about legacy. Some just want to stop putting this off and finally get it handled. That is why this is not one size fits all. The right solution depends on the person. And that matters because too many people either go underinsured, overcomplicate the process, or never get started at all. My goal is to help make it make sense, to help people stop avoiding it, to help people take action from a place of understanding. And I think that part matters a lot, because most people are not irresponsible. Most people are just busy. They are stretched thin. They are trying to handle everything else first. So if that is you, I want to say this clearly. Taking care of life insurance is not being negative. It is being responsible. It is being prepared. It is looking out for the people you love. It is one of the clearest ways to say, if something happens to me, I still want my family protected. That is love in action. That is planning in action. That is leadership in action. And you do not have to be rich to start thinking that way. You do not need to wait until everything is perfect. You do not need to have every area of your finances figured out before you make this move. You just need to be willing to stop putting it off, because The longer people wait, the more they leave up to chance. And usually the earlier you start, the more options you tend to have. That is why I encourage people not to wait until there's a health issue, a crisis, or an emergency before they finally take this seriously. It is always better to look at it before life forces the issue. And if you have been putting it off, that does not mean you failed. It just means now is the time to get clear. Now is the time to ask the right questions. Now is the time to protect your family the right way. So if you are serious about getting your finances in order, life insurance needs to be part of that conversation, not later, not someday, now. Because real financial strategy is not just about making money, it is not just about credit, it is not just about getting approved for things, it is also about protecting your household, your future, and the people who count on you. That is why Fred Livai Financial helps people look at life insurance as part of the full picture. If you want to understand your options, figure out what kind of coverage may fit your situation, and stop guessing about what your family would need, reach out to Fred Livai Financial. Let's have a real conversation. Let's look at your situation, and let's help you put a real protection plan in place so your family is not left carrying a burden that could have been avoided. That is what this is about: protection, peace of mind, and making sure the people you love are covered.